Elon Musk, he is for me the most amazing, inspiring person of this century, or maybe of all time. And he said, besides many other intelligent things, he said something, and he repeats it again and again, that it's almost certain, 99.9% sure, that we are living in a virtual reality. So this would mean, what does this mean? Does he think he's not a person doing, but he's just an avatar of some other intelligence that is just creating all the things he's creating? Yeah, it must be like this, because imagine, think about what does it mean, virtual reality? Like it started a lot with the movie The Matrix, but this is an old idea. Even Shakespeare, he already said, all the world is a stage. So what I want to talk about is like, how can this idea help us to really live a better life, a life that we have a guidance of making the right choices, and to live also a more happy life. So I would say this idea of the world being a virtual reality is the myth, and the myth of the 21st century. So like every myth in the past of creation, of purpose of life, they were just an analogy, a picture, a way of thinking about life that can help you to live a good life, a better life, a more creative life. And I think the idea of the world being a virtual reality has this potential to be even better than all the other creation myths of the past, to guide people in a good way, in a better way. So really think about virtual reality. What if this world is a virtual reality? What would it really mean for your life? And there's so many indications, but one thing should be very clear. when this is a virtual reality, and you are just the avatar, the game figure of some intelligence that controls you, just like players in a video game, in a computer game, they move the avatars, the players. So what would this mean for your understanding of your life? And the first thing, you cannot be so naive anymore to think you are the doer, you are the creator, and if things go wrong, it was your fault that things go wrong. So imagine, this is already a big relief. If you have a religion, a way of life, a way of seeing the world, a myth of life, an analogy that relieves you from all the burden of always thinking you have to do it right, you have to get it right, you can get it right, and you are at fault if it doesn't work out the way it works out. And this is actually, basically, think about it, this is a key belief or illusion of New Age thinking, that you are the creator, you are the one who has all the choices to do whatever you want to do, you can become. So that's the law of attraction. You just have to visualize and it will come. if you are the avatar of some higher or some other players. No, you play what the player wants you to play. So this idea of the law of attraction and the idea that you are the creator and the God doesn't work with the idea that this is a virtual reality. And you know, the interesting thing is that Elon Musk, who repeats this again and again, he should be the one person in the world who can be more proud about himself, about being the creator, of realizing everything that he wants than any other person in this world and in history. You know, he first created PayPal, made his first billion with this one, invested this billion into Tesla Motors, which is now a company that's bigger than General Motors, or at least more worse than General Motors, and a company that has been around since over 100 years. He made it all in a few years be more worse than this company. Then, not enough, he starts SpaceX, and there's the other video, there's so many videos about this, but it's amazing. He just now put 60 satellites into orbit. He's planning to go to Mars. He's more successful than all the other players before, Boeing and Lockheed, and certainly people like Jeff Bezos. I mean, he's just a player, a little player that wants to do the same and they copy him. But they're all just nothing compared to Elon Musk. And so he should be the one who has more right and more reason to think, oh wow, I'm the creator, I'm God, I can do it, everything that I want I can do. But no, the interesting thing is he is saying this is a virtual reality. And of course he will understand that this means what he's creating is not his creation, but it is the creation of the player that plays him. Yeah? So this is the first thing, and it's a big new way of seeing how much value is there in this idea of virtual reality. And of course then it includes all the other, or many of the other ideals of religion. For example, when you know this is a virtual reality, it means also you don't have to be afraid to die. If something happens to you that you don't like, it doesn't really happen to you, it just happens to the avatar. So, wow. So you don't have to be afraid of dying, because you're not dying. Just the figure is dying, the avatar that is being played. And so again, just with one idea of a virtual reality, this covers so many things that religion tries to, with some kind of dogma, with some kind of ideas to fortify, but virtual reality, the idea, it's just a consequence of this seeing the world like this. And so there is something in a virtual reality idea that is not completely so easy to understand. Why should we have compassion, for example? Because if it's a virtual reality, if we kill a lot of characters around us, no problem, nothing really happens. So why should we have compassion if we believe in this being a virtual reality? And I think we have to understand every game, every virtual reality has a purpose, and the purpose we have to understand. Just assume, this is something you have to assume. It is to create consciousness in the players. And also enjoyment and connection with the other players. And this is also what happens in normal games. You want to enjoy the game, you want to have new friends on the other side of the world with whom you play this virtual reality. And you want to educate. This is part of any game. You want to, well, not every game, but some games, some virtual realities, they want to also create new insight, new understanding. So when you assume that the key aim of this virtual reality in which we are is to strengthen the sense of wonder, of connection between the players, not the avatars, between the players, and the ability of the players to not completely get lost in the game, so to be outside and have a sense of self. Then when you as the avatar are played in a way that it amazes the other players on the other side, then you are doing something that's useful, that's educating. But again, it's not you doing it, the player that plays you. So, and I'm doing this here in the Magic Garden. It's a very good place for this kind of video because all the characters are here. Yeah, all the characters are here maybe since I don't know how long. And we are these characters in this world, but we don't need to only stand there like this guy, but we can move and we can act. And this is really just the beginning of talking about this idea about the virtual reality that Elon Musk, if you have not seen much about him, search for him. It's just every video is inspiring and amazing. I hope I sometimes get an invitation to meet him or a chance to meet him. If you hear this and have the chance to get me an invitation, please let me know. I would be the first to be in my old home, California. Okay.